What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Entrepreneur Conference Live Preview, and today we have greatness for you. My name is Ryan Riddle, co-founder of the Entrepreneur Conference.
My name is Bolvadin, also co-founder of the Entrepreneur Conference. And do you know a good roofer? Because you're about to go through the roof when you hear this guy, the Real Brad Lea. Brad, thank you so much for being a part of this.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, I had to borrow that closing from your door-to-door training for that intro.
Go ahead.
So, Brad, we're super excited to have you, and I think a lot of people, they know who you are, but the ones who don't kind of wanted them to be introduced to you and get to know you a little bit better. For those of you who don't know, he's the founder, CEO of Lightspeed VT, the #1 virtual training platform in the world. He does business with the biggest of the big. He's done business and doing business with Tony Robbins, Grant Cardone, Damon John, John Taffer. This is just to name a few. I mean, your Rolodex is probably the best Rolodex that I know of out there. So it's pretty big, and you've done a lot of big things for a lot of big people. But before we get there, I just had a quick question for you. How the heck did you even get to that spot? Like, how did this all start?
Well, when I was 30 years old, I had a knack for developing high-powered salespeople and sales managers. I could take someone right out of a freaking Burger King and turn them into a badass. So I watched this person's life change from going minimum wage to 15, 20 grand a month after I taught him how to close. And I watched his whole family bloom, and it just made me feel good. So little did I know, I decided to quit and start a training company so I could do that for more people. And then I went out on the road to do that, and I couldn't get the same result, and I couldn't figure out what the problem was. So I did a little research and realized when you want to effectively train people, you're going to need 4 ingredients: good content, repetition, practice, and accountability. And I didn't know that I was doing that prior, but when I started my own company out on the road, I wasn't able to deliver the repetition, practice, and accountability because I was being hired for a day or two. And once I realized that that was the problem, I developed an interactive training software to allow me to emulate what I would do in real life, but it was just on the internet. It was back before anyone was training on the internet. And so once I developed this technology, it started to work extremely well. And then I just ran into people that preferred other trainers' material. So I just thought, well, let me go help these other trainers train people better. So I just started closing the trainers and the experts on using my software as opposed to doing it the old-fashioned, antiquated way that wasn't very effective. And Lightspeed VT was born.
Wow. So after all these years with all the different people that you trained, what's some of the habits that you see that salespeople are missing that they really need?
Well, I mean, that we could be on here for hours for that.
the key ones, the key ones.
Well, I mean, again, if you're in sales, whether you're new or experienced, will determine probably what you're missing. A lot of the new salespeople, they don't understand that you have to develop thick skin, and the no's shouldn't bother you mentally. Too many times people get junked out and kind of give up too early because of the no's that they will experience, and people don't know how to handle rejection. And if they knew better, they'd do better. So ultimately, letting your mindset get carried away is one of the habits that they get into that's not good for them. A lot of people don't understand how to listen. They don't understand how to ask the right questions. They don't understand the structure of a sale. They don't understand human behavior. They don't understand how to identify and isolate an objection, how to overcome objections, how to build relationships, how to introduce themselves, how to build value. So again, buddy, this could go on forever. Rephrase your question.
All right, so let's dial it down even more. What separates the good from the great in sales? So, I consider myself just good, right? I got a lot of work to do, but I have probably about 40, 50 people on my team, mainly all sales. But from the people that you worked with that are running big companies or, from small companies, what's some tips that you would give that person that's maybe a small, running a small sales team like me and that wants to get to a bigger one?
Well, how you scale a sales team really is mainly focusing on people or technology. If you're not prepared to train people and you bring them on board, 9 times out of 10, the stallions will end up leaving. Stallions run with stallions, right? So if you're trying to attract and keep stallions, you have to have a training system, you have to have organization. I mean, stallions are generally drawn to 3 things. 1, compensation. Okay, 2, organization, and 3, culture. And a lot of times these smaller sales teams, they're so dependent on the people that they have that they're too afraid to lose them. So they tolerate them. When in reality, if you focus on technology, like Lightspeed, for example, you have a training system ready to go, and then you start to build that culture, and then you start to attract those stallions. Well, if you're gonna plan on keeping stallions, just remember this: stallions run with stallions. They don't run with turkeys. You ever see stallions running across the plain with turkeys in between their feet?
No.
Never.
That's because they don't run with turkeys. So first thing you do to build a better sales team is to get rid of the idiots, get rid of the lazy, get rid of the unwilling. And those are the turkeys, by the way. You get rid of the turkeys. So when you find somebody and you start to, develop those stallions into your culture and your organization, your foundation is prepared. So again, compensation, that's the number 1 way to attract top salespeople is your pay plan. Number 2 is your culture and your organization. Are you organized? Do they know exactly what to do? Is everything set and ready to go? Are you generating leads for them? Are they learning how to prospect on their own? Do you even have the ability to train them properly? A lot of times we don't. When I started, I didn't. I was doing everything ass backwards. I didn't have any systems and processes in place. I was out preaching, training, but I wasn't training my own team very well. It was kind of like, when you're a landscaper, your backyard looks like shit because you're helping everybody else with theirs. So if someone said, Brad, I want to scale my company, number 1, you have to document the systems and processes, create the technology to allow you to duplicate with consistency, hold people accountable, give them the repetition that they need, and then you start bringing people on board and then just hold them accountable.
Love it. I think that's great.
I'm taking notes here like a madman. So it's super valuable advice, Brad. And speaking of stallions, I have a really important question because this always amazed me about what you did. Lightspeed VT today is a company that anyone in the space is really aware of, and also it's a leader in the industry. But once upon a time, Lightspeed VT was a startup with just one man, one man controlling it, which was you. How did you get in front of all these stallions that you have as clients today? How do you earn the trust of someone when you don't have a track record yet to entrust you with taking them to the next level? How does that process work?
Well, I had the ability to sell, close, and persuade. I already had the sales skills, and with sales skills, you can build anything in life. A lot of people come to me, they want to be an entrepreneur, or they already are an entrepreneur trying to look to get to the next level. And it's like, how is your skill set on sales, closing, and persuasion? Are you excellent at that? Because I was, fortunately, and so I closed the people that were teaching you to close. A lot of times people say, what's the best way to sell somebody? And I say the best way to sell somebody is don't sell them, help them. Drop the sales and pick up the help. Don't be a salesperson, be a help person. I helped, Grant I helped Grant Cardone, I helped car dealers, I helped Tony Robbins, I helped these people, and my focus was to help them make bigger impacts, make more revenue, identify new revenue streams. So I was just looking to help. I wasn't looking to sell. And I had the ability to build relationships because, well, number 1, a couple books, but number 2, when you're sincerely interested in the other person and you're not looking to help yourself, you have kind of a different vibe. And I think that resonated with these guys. And not to mention our technology was superior to anything that was out there traditionally. We were the first ones really training online. So a lot of times I look back and I think, wow, I was doing this before anyone did this, which kind of makes me the father of online training. So I'll take that, but nobody really said it. I kind of gave it to myself, so I better, I don't walk around saying it. But in 1999, I developed Lightspeed VT for my own content, started working really well, and then I ran into competitors, and they kept saying, we prefer this guy or we use this guy. So I decided just to go close those people on my platform so they could train people better and make a bigger impact. My whole mission in life is to get the knowledge from the people who have it to the people who need it, because I believe people fail because they don't have the right information. Yeah. Nobody really wants to fail, they just don't have the right information. Just like you said, you want to build a bigger sales team. Well, if you never get the right information, it's going to be you might accidentally figure it out. Like I've accidentally figured out a lot of things. But if I were smarter back in the day, I would have slowed down and asked for help and looked for counsel of someone who was already doing it. Unfortunately, nobody was doing it when I started, so I had to learn the hard way. I was the pioneer. You can always tell the pioneers, they're the ones with the arrows in the back.
Yeah. That leads us perfectly into why we're doing the entrepreneur conference. We're putting a ton behind this, and it's to give everybody in our local community the ability to learn and talk to people like you. I mean, this is the whole, throughout the whole process of putting this conference together, it's all worth it once you get to speak to people like you and get this one-on-one time. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure.
Buddy, my pleasure. I'm looking forward to it.
So Brad, what can these guys expect to hear from the real Brad Lea when he's on stage on September 14th?
Well, all I can promise is you're going to hear real information. Real tactical things. I always figure out what to say when I walk out on the stage. I don't have PowerPoint presentations and, structured presentations. I just walk out there and kind of, talk about what I believe will help them get to the next level. Mindset is critical. A lot of times people don't believe they deserve success. So we talk a little bit about mindset and how to fix that, how to build that confidence so you can, comfortably, or more comfortably, I should say, take a chance. Because if you don't take a chance, you're going to work for someone who did. So a lot of times it's mindset. I believe I'm going to be bringing some information to people that will allow them to not only, get the confidence necessary to build a big business, but also the steps on how to build it, and then on a day-to-day basis, how to overcome challenges and objections and issues that arise.
That's awesome. I mean, we're really looking forward to that, and it's incredible. I said this to Tim, I said it to Grant, I want to say it to you. 2017, the first GrowthCon he did is when I really got a chance to meet you in person. From that point forward, it really changed the trajectory of my life, and I always wanted to have my Lightspeed VT platform, always wanted to share a stage with you, always wanted to do big things together, and I'm really happy that just a few years after that, when I went there with nothing, we're able to come together on that, make that happen, help a bunch of people, change lives, and better ourselves and the people around us.
Dude, that's awesome. That's what it's all about, man. It's who you hang around. What are you putting into your brain? Too many people are so afraid to ask for help. They're so afraid to go to these conferences. They think, well, why would I go to one of those? Well, folks, sometimes it's not the people on the stage you need to focus on. It's the people in the audience. Yeah. The more hands you shake, the more money you make.
Amen. You need to trademark that advice, Brad.
Yeah.
Well, Brad Lea, for those of you watching September 14th, if you haven't gotten your tickets yet, entrepreneurconference.live, where you'll see Brad Lea and many other great speakers. Don't miss this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. In fact, Brad, is this your first time coming to Long Island, New York?
I believe it is, yes.
Yeah. Wow. So I mean, we're watching history in the making. You need to be a part of that. Awesome.
Well, I love the name. I love the name of the conference, the Entrepreneur Conference. Listen, there's a lot of people out there. I believe every single person that is thinking about starting a business or even a side hustle should be at this event. You got Grant Cardone, awesome. You got Tim Grover, awesome. Your lineup is epic, and I believe that if somebody were to show up, get the information, build those networks and those relationships, they'll have everything they need to succeed.
How long do you and Grant go back, by the way?
15 years.
Wow.
Wow. So, yeah, because I know you really helped him phase 2 his business when you brought that to him, helped scale it. So that's incredible. So.
Yeah, somebody asked me the other day on a podcast, you know, hey, when did you hit your big break? When you met Grant? And I said, no, that's when he hit his big break.
Well, I mean, he's said that, so that, I mean,
dude,
I believe that.
When I met Grant, he was already successful. He was one of the top sales trainers in the car business, but he was traveling a lot. He was all over the United States. He just had a baby, or one was coming. I can't remember, but it was, you know, he was working his ass off, you know, and he was putting all that money into real estate. And I was sitting here trying to convince him to go virtual when nobody was going virtual. So it took me a little while to close him, but you know, once I closed the deal, you know, he very, very quickly, you know, built that thing into a massive opportunity, massive brand. He helps thousands of companies, you know, increase their revenues, you know, solve their training issues. And then obviously he took that and took it even to a ridiculous level with his brand, his personal brand, which is incredible. I might talk about that too. How do you build a personal brand? That's valuable. And then he took that personal brand, and now he's helping people, you know, get into real estate and become, you know, real estate moguls. So, dude, it's going to be a great conference.
When did you hit your break though? How many years in business did it really take to get to some type of a point that you wanted to get? When was that first milestone?
It took me about 8 years to
and
get
what was
to,
that milestone? Was that like a volume, certain amount of clients?
No, it took me 8 years to start paying the bills consistently.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then, you know, it took about another 4 years to start making some money. So 12 years before I started making money.
How old were you when you started the company?
30.
28.
30 years old, and then you're 28, or you were 28.
No, I'm 28.
Yeah, dude, you're way ahead. Listen, nowadays these young guys, these young girls,
they think it comes so easy. It's crazy.
Well, they've got such an advantage because you guys were born with iPhones in your hand. You were born with social media, and really all you need to do is, people say, what skill sets do you need? I call them kill sets, because if you want to kill it in life, all you need are 5 skills to master. If you master 5 skills, you can do anything and guarantee yourself multi-millions of dollars.
Yeah, that's true. Well, we got Brad. We got to trademark kill sets for you too. That's that's a great way of approaching it. I love that.
Yeah, kill sets. I was hoping you'd say, what are those 5?
That's next. Yeah. So what are those 5?
Well, you're going to have to come to the conference to find out.
Oh. Brad, thank you so much for being a part of this. We're super excited to have you there. September 14th, entrepreneurconference.live. Get your tickets now.